And what were the first symptoms that you noticed?
Numbness in my legs and feet, which slowly came up and up the legs, all the way to my waist. And that took about 6 weeks. And with it came weakness in the limbs. So I could still walk, but I wasn't strong. And I got quite tired quite quickly, walking around. And then the hands went a bit numb as well. And that made for some interesting experiences with cigarettes and pints of beer, because my hand would turn, or I'd drop a cigarette, or it would burn all the way down, and I didn't know until it, obviously I felt it. Yeah. But the strangest thing was the glass, because there was a time when my wrist would turn, so I'd be pouring beer gently out of the glass over someone's foot, and I had no idea, unless I was looking at my hand, what it was doing. You just didn't have that sensation at all, where your hands were, what they were doing. And holding something, I knew I was holding it if I could see my knuckles were a bit white, but I couldn't feel it in my hand. So quite often I'd hold it with two hands, which looked a bit strange. The way they put it to me was, it's not your friend, we're not saying you should get into it forever. What we're saying is, when you need to go from A to B and it's a long way, don't be manly and try and walk it. Take the wheelchair, get there in 5 minutes, have loads of energy and walk when you're there. Get out. Yeah. And that seemed a supremely sensible way of looking at wheelchairs. Yeah. But things, of course, continued to progress for me. So that was, 96. We're now 2017, so 20 years later, odd. I have to use one because I can't walk. I can stand in a standing frame, but that's it. So I have to use a wheelchair, but it's not so bad. You get used to looking at everyone at just above waist height, and that's interesting in itself, because it certainly gives you a different perspective on life. And the way people look at you as well. Yeah. That's very interesting. I suppose from a practical point of view, comfort point of view, it's fine. It's comfy. I can push myself around. I've had now 2 chairs where we've done an awful lot of miles and probably gone some places wheelchairs shouldn't go. And I've taken them swimming by mistake, because I wasn't in them at the time. They fell off the pontoon that I'd got into my boat from while I was sailing. Came back, where's my chair? Oh, there it is. It's only about 5 metres down, Andrew. Don't worry, we'll get it for you. And I've gone abroad quite a lot. It's different, but that's all really. And it's not that different. Therein lies, I think, part of the trick, in that it's a question of perspective. If you can get the perspective right about having a condition like this, then it's easy. Around that time I came here, the hands and arms were very, very bad. And that was, it was difficult to push myself around in the chair, difficult to do my own transfers from wheelchair to bed or bed to wheelchair. And I felt really pretty incapacitated. Very fortunately, I don't know why, neither does my consultant. Perhaps he thinks it's a mixture of a cocktail of drugs that I've had over the time I've had the disease. Maybe it's a bit of good fortune as well. Maybe it's just a bit of, I don't know, something else. I have had it for 34 years. I don't know. I really don't know. But it has changed a little bit, in the sense that the movement and dexterity that I wanted to try and achieve in my hands and arms to make me a bit more independent and a bit handier in the chair has come back. Not without a great deal of neurophysio input, but very fortunately it has come back. My eyesight's gone, is the one thing that's gone worse. And the legs are much the same. Trunk stability has improved a little bit. But really, if you've got some hands and good strong arms, then that changes a lot of things. So, yes, I'm happy to say that things did work out. Whether or not they stay like that, I don't know. Who knows? But I don't, that's not, I can't go on living a life where you think, oh, what's going to happen next week, next month, next year. You just have to enjoy the moment. And while things are good, make hay. If they want to talk about it, they will. If they want to ask you questions, they will. Kids are like that, they do. And I think possibly it's quite daunting for a child to sit down with a parent and then you get this long story about how this dreadful thing has happened to mummy or daddy, and I don't know, I think much better leave it to the child's natural curiosity. They'll ask what they want to know. What they don't want to know, they won't ask you. And the way I always positioned it to my lads, well, I didn't make a big thing. It's not a big thing for me. I've never made a big drama about it. It's just what I have. That's all. Yes, it's part of me, but it's not my life. My life's much, much bigger and more fun than that. So it has a perspective. And the way I positioned it to them, whenever it did come up, which wasn't very often, but it usually would over things like, oh, Dad, can you come and bowl cricket? No, don't be silly, because Dad can't do that. I'd say, well, yeah, but I can umpire. And football or whatever sport it was, yes, I might not be able to play, but you can participate in a way. You just have to find your own way of participating. But that was the thing, is to keep it in perspective. And I said, boys, it is, it's going to be different, but not that different. If you think, oh my God, this is all disastrous, everything has to change, everything has to change. Well, it probably will. That's probably exactly how it'll be. But if you can say, okay, things have to be different, but not that different, just a little bit different, then you've got it into the right area. You put it into perspective, and things have to be different, but not that much different. And that's a good place for it to be. So just get on with everything else, but there's a little bit there, it's just a bit different. So, for example, if I go to a test match with the boys, because we love going to watch cricket, there are only two places I can sit, either in the man stand at Lord's or in the first floor of the grandstand. Because I don't know, or I haven't yet been invited by one of the friends who's a member to go and sit on the grass.
Still can.
It may happen, I'm sure it will, but in a way, being in the man stand or being in the grandstand, it gives you a bit more flexibility. You can go off to get yourself a drink more easily than if you're on the lawn, but on the turf. But okay, I can't go and join a mate in a corporate box or on the third level of the Taverners, or it doesn't matter. I'm still there. We're still watching. One of my sons and I are still watching the game, still enjoying and loving it. Ditto in the Oval. Okay, there are some things you can't do, but you can sort of do them. That doesn't mean to say the enjoyment's any less. Still definitely worth doing. It helps a lot if you can keep an open mind and keep versatile and keep adapting and think, okay, well, if I can't do that, then what about doing it this way? Or instead of being perhaps sort of, okay, well, that door's come down in front of your nose, that's it. Forget that idea. No, don't forget the idea. Just keep mulling over the idea of perhaps another way through the door or another way around the problem that you come across. Because there's usually a way.